Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, where today we will discuss the best budget PC under $500 on the market. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Oh, by the way, links to all the featured products are given in the description below, so check it out. If part of the draw to the gaming PC world is the design and flash of a gaming computer, the best overall value may not have enough charisma for your taste. While the core elements are hard to beat, the window to the LED fans is a nice touch. The build doesn't exactly yell expensive. Some people don't mind the sleeper style build, but others are looking for a budget piece. And while RGB isn't everything, an exceptional quality case with some RGB fans and a side window goes a long way in sprucing up a PC. We recommend the Allied Gaming PC Javelin Mini Desktop based on that combination of good aesthetic and still high performance. Allied Gaming is a new producer as far as we can tell, which indicates it has some risk and some chance for success. If it weren't for Amazon's vital A to Z protection, we would likely be more careful in recommending this PC. But based on that guarantee and Amazon's customer service, it's hard not to love this PC. The two massive ARGB fans in the front, combined with the sleek case and window, give an aesthetic that is significantly related to PCs that cost several $100s more. And to go with that look, the PC presents some pretty vital internal components. The 8GB 3000MHz RAM, 550W PSU, and A520 motherboard are all serviceable, and a 240GB SSD will serve nicely as a boot drive and for leading apps. But the star of the show is the CPU. The Ryzen 3100 is one of the most substantial budget offerings available today, with the same great value as other Zen 2 AMD offerings in a 4C 8T package that is well adapted to modern gaming. The graphics card is slightly underwhelming with the RX 550 compared to the 1650 offered in our overall choice above, but it will still push lots of frames at 1080p for a budget build. For the same $499, this PC offers a great choice for someone looking for a little less GPU in exchange for a bit more style in their gaming PC. The HP Pavilion 590 P0033W comes outfitted with the Intel Core i3-8100 processor that has 4 cores, 4 threads, and a base clock speed of 3.6 GHz. Sadly, like most of the entries on this video, it doesn't have a dedicated GPU, but the processor comes provided with Intel's UHD 630 integrated graphics card. The specs are nothing to tell about, and you have to settle for a 720p gaming experience, but the combined GPU is good enough that you could play several of the newer AAA titles at around 30 frames per second on low settings, if you had at least 8GB of RAM, which you don't. First of all, even though the CPU is not the most dominant on the market, it is still pretty fair for this price. The specs are actually quite nice, and it even comes outfitted with its own UHD 630 integrated graphics that can operate most modern games on low to medium settings, albeit at 720p. As for the storage, 1TB is more than sufficient for any conventional PC, and you can be certain that you will most likely never come even close to running out. It's no SSD, but that's to be expected, considering the budget. It does have its Optane memory that speeds up some of your most used programs, essentially making your PC feel like it's operating an SSD in some cases. The Acer Aspire TC895UA91 is a fair PC right out of the box. This one comes outfitted with Intel's latest gen processor, the Intel Core i3-10100. This generation, Intel finally chose to add hyper-threading to their lower tier processors, which has significantly enhanced their processing power. This particular processor has 4 cores, 8 threads, a base frequency of 3.6 GHz, and the highest boost frequency of 4.3 GHz. What they haven't improved upon is their combined GPU, which is still the Intel UHD Graphics 630, just like with the past 3 generations of Intel processors. In terms of processing power, this is a fabulous PC. While 4 cores and 8 threads might not be mind-blowing, it's ideally acceptable for any modern-day budget PC. Hyper-threading will provide your CPU to work quicker and be more effective than any other quad-core processor that doesn't have this characteristic, and it will significantly reduce lag when operating multiple programs at once. It also helps that the PC has 8GB of RAM. Of course, 16GB is still the optimal amount, but that's for much more costly builds. In this case, 8GB is fantastic. Overall, the Acer Aspire is a fabulous choice, and it gives the best price to performance ratio out of all the systems listed here. It's also an especially great deal if you're thinking about getting a dedicated GPU soon, and you need to spend as little money as possible with the best possible result. The CUK ASRock Desk Mini A300W is absolutely a mini PC. Because of this, it doesn't leave much spare for upgrades, but if what you require is a budget PC for gaming that will do its job for a while and then be replaced with another machine, this is a pretty sweet deal. This mini PC comes with a Ryzen 3 3200G. You also get 16GB of DDR4 RAM operating at 2666 MHz, an NVMe SSD with 512GB of storage, and a 3-year warranty. The Desk Mini A300W has a prominent processor that can run most of the more modern games at a minimum of 30 frames per second in low settings, but what shocked us the most was the RAM. This is the first and sadly the only PC on this list with 16GB of RAM. While 8GB and 12GB of RAM is actually good these days, 16 is the perfect number when it comes to memory, and especially when it comes to memory intended for a PC with an integrated GPU. What's more, AMD's processors rely massively on RAM, so the more you have, the better the CPU's performance. This is the first Ryzen build on this list, and even though it's a mini PC, it's yet the best gaming system. The AMD Radeon RX 550 is by no means a state-of-the-art card. It has 2GB of VR RAM, and you'll still have to stick to 720p most of the time, particularly in AAA titles, but it's still a tremendous improvement compared to integrated graphics. This GPU is paired up with the AMD Ryzen 3 3100. The processor has 4 cores, 8 threads, 3.6 GHz base clock speed, and 3.9 GHz max boost clock speed. These are ideally decent stats, particularly for a budget PC. Other than that, the PC is provided with 8GB of memory, a pre-installed Windows 10 Home, Wi-Fi, and the normal keyboard and mouse. The storage is a little weaker in this case, which is probably due to the dedicated GPU, so the Element Mini 9300 comes with only 240GB SSD. This is not a mind-blowing, fantastic CPU, but it's clearly nothing to complain about. For a budget PC such as this one, that even has a dedicated GPU, this is an outstanding deal.
Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, then hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you loved it. Take a moment to hit the bell icon so you'll get notified of all our latest uploads.